morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, August 9th meeting. It is 11:01. We have Brendan Doyle serving as an alternate for Nan Baker.
Present.
Jim Boyle serving as an alternate for Dale Miller.
Present.
Joe Nani serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Catherine Tkachuk.
Here.
We have a quorum.
If we can take a few minutes to review last week's August 2nd minutes, and then we'll make a motion to approve after everybody's had a minute to read the minutes. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Board of Control minutes approved. Next item.
First item, BC 2021-419, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 7081 and enter into a contract with Silk Road Specialized LLC in the amount not to exceed $9,500 to transport a trolley located at the former Bridge Garage to Thornville, Ohio for the period August 9th, 2021 through August 31st, 2021.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This first item, request approval of a contract. It's with Silk Road Specialized LLC. It's a not to exceed dollar amount. We have a trolley that's located at the former Bridge Garage that recently sold. We have to get that trolley moved back to where it came from. We did bid this out competitively 4 different times, and we had 1 bid submitted, and we're going to go with that vendor.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
So we never owned it to begin with, is that correct?
No, we did not.
Oh.
When we started doing the bridge tours under the bridge, you know, this was like a post-World War II era trolley. It was,
Okay.
you know, it was like a...
Full English. It's on loan. It was on loan from this trolley museum,
Okay.
essentially, and they're out of wherever this is going to. It's like
Thornville.
Thornville, I
Thornville.
think
It's near-
somewhere
it's
south.
east of Columbus.
Yeah.
So,
So that we have a locomotive and this trolley car. The locomotive's staying under the bridge because we can keep it under the bridge. This is in the parking lot, so we have to get it out because it's the parking lot.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for this item? If there are no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-420, Department of Development, requesting approval of a home loan in the amount of $450,000 to McGregor Foundation or its designee for McGregor Senior Independent Living Project located at 14900 Private Drive, City of East Cleveland, to provide 106 affordable, newly constructed or rehabilitated units.
Hi, good morning. Kate Fian, Department of Development. So this is a request for a $450,000 loan to the McGregor Foundation. And this is for the McGregor Senior Independent Living Project. This will provide 106 affordable units to seniors. So this loan will be 0% interest, 20-year forgivable. And the forgivability is based on the 4 units assisted by our funding being maintained as affordable for 20 years. So at that time, the debt will be forgiven. This is one of the projects recommended for our annual funding through the Home Investment Partnership Funds from HUD.
Are there any questions on this item?
Where is the McGregor home?
It
I
is
know
in
it says
East-
Euclid.
It's in East Cleveland.
That's what I thought. It's
Yeah.
okay, I know.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thanks.
Recently
What's that?
sold the
Yeah, I
property.
know where it is. I
ODD
just,
had
all
it.
oh no, I was on I wasn't sure where it was. I was on the wrong thing here, but that's fine. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, here are no additional questions. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-421, Department of Development, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with City of Euclid in the amount not to exceed $402,697 for allocation of fiscal year 2019-2020 U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Home Investment Partnership Program funds for home qualified activities for the period May 1st, 2021 through April 30th, 2023.
Good morning, Kate Fian again, Department of Development. So this is a contract that we're entering into with the City of Euclid, and they're a member of our housing consortium. Cuyahoga County is the fiscal agent for the consortium. So these are, again, home investment partnership funds that we receive from HUD. And this contract will provide funds for eligible qualified activities within the city of Euclid for that time period.
Okay, any questions on this item? Okay, hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. All those in favor, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-422, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to National Urban Fellows Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $68,000 for the sponsorship of a National Urban Fellow for the period September 1st, 2021 through May 13th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Paul Herdig with the Department of Development. For this program year, we're going to be sponsoring Kaylin Carter as our National Urban Fellow. She's a mid-career professional with extensive nonprofit experience. The way the program works is we'll have her services as a full-time employee for 9 months starting September. She will also be completing her master's degree at Georgetown. And this is a long-standing program from the 1960s that brings forward mid-career minority professionals and prepares them for careers in public service.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Mr. Boyle?
Just very briefly, Paul, so has the county have we been in this program prior to this year?
Yes, thanks for the
Okay.
question. 2 years ago, we sponsored Regina Johnson. There was no program last year because of COVID.
Okay.
And we've actually, in the distant past, had other fellows. I can't remember specifically what years right now, but we were thrilled by the work we got from Regina, and we're excited about working with Kaylin.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I didn't see who said that. Mr. Doyle. Okay. Seconded by Mr. Doyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-423, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Vertigis North America Limited in the amount not to exceed $5,305 for maintenance and support on GeoCortex Essentials standard software for the period March 1st, 2021 through February 28th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Janelle Green, Department of IT. This request is to renew our services through Vertigis for the GeoCortex Essentials, which is a software that links our Esri ArcGIS software to our MyPlace application, which is links to the fiscal department. It is a proprietary software, and this is one of the reasons why we did not bid that out. Plus, if they have value-added resellers, which would have added on a margin of 25%, at least 25% onto the price that we do have. One of the other reasons it was late is because we had some problem with paperwork. This is a Canadian-based company, and they had a name chase and was bought out since the last time we had procured this item, as well as there was an evaluation of the need for this software moving forward. After this year, we will likely require one more year of the maintenance before we transition off of using this software.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-424, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Brown Enterprise Solutions, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $11,610.70 for a state contract purchase of 10 additional HP EliteBook G8 laptops and related accessories for the Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Janelle Green, Department of IT. This is purchased on behalf of the juvenile courts. We utilize a state term contract to expedite the purchasing. They are intending on utilizing some grant funding that expires fairly soon, and so we wanted to ensure that we got this sooner. These are standard items as deemed by the TAC committee. So that's why we wanted to utilize the state contract in order to procure these laptops for them.
There are any questions on this item? Okay, hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-425, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Mythix Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $35,280 for the purchase of 1,500 Java SE desktop subscription licenses for the period August 9th, 2021 through August 8th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Janelle Green, Department of IT. Java is a programming language that's used in many web applications. We are requesting this purchase in order to allow our security team to install updates in order to protect the county's computers that utilizes any applications that have Java encrypted into them. We utilize the U.S. Communities Cooperative, which gave us a nearly $3,000 discount for this purchase.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Okay, hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-426, Department of Internal Audit, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to IIA Quality Services, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $20,500 to provide external quality assessment services related to internal audit activities for the period August 9th, 2021 through November 5th, 2021, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
As internal audit, anyone from internal audit here? I think we're gonna have to hold this item.
I just sent a message to Josh. I'm not sure if they
Okay.
know the process to see if he can come down to do it.
Okay,
see
so
if he
we'll
can-
hold this off till later. So let's move on to the next item.
Okay, next item, BC 2021-427, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, recommending an award on requisition 4453 and enter into a master contract with various providers in the total amount not to exceed $200,000 for juvenile drug court short-term residential treatment services for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, with Cornell Abraxas Group LLC in the amount not to exceed $50,000 and with New Directions in the amount not to exceed $150,000.
Good morning, Tamika Ballard with Juvenile Court. We would like to contract with Cornell Abraxas and New Directions as a relapse prevention program to provide residential treatment for the youth that has exhausted their community-based and family-centered-based treatment options. The programs and services are reserved for the youth that are considered moderate to high-risk offenders. They have continued to engage in drug and alcoholic use, even with the most intensive community services that we have in place. The master contract was bid out as an RFP and funded by the Health and Human Service Levy. We are asking that we give Cornell Abraxas $50,000 and New Directions $200,000. The reason that it is late is because there were protracted negotiations with the vendor that required a more extensive review by our legal team. And by the time the parties came to the agreement, we were behind in getting the contract approved on time, which is July 1st of 2021.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
This is a 2-year contract?
1.5.
Oh, okay.
Any additional questions? Okay, hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-428, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on a purchase order to Safeware Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $177,267.20 for the purchase of 4 replacement bomb suit ensembles for the Lake County Regional and Lorain County bomb teams.
Good morning, Leslie White with the Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. We're recommending an award to Safeware for the purchase of 4 complete bomb suits. 2 of them are for the Lake County Regional team and 2 for the Lorain County team. Both teams are replacing outdated equipment. These suits tend to expire every 7 years. And this purchase was competitively bid, and we're awarding to the lowest compliant vendor. And Ohio EMA, which is the funder, has approved this award. And so 2 of the suits are going against our state homeland grant and 2 of them against the LE grant.
Are there any questions?
So how do they expire? I mean, are they just out of date, or is there new technology? I'm just curious.
Yeah, they expire. If you think about it, these suits are for a very technical purpose, and the manufacturer, they probably are good longer than 7 years, but when you're protecting someone from blowing up,
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
there's only
I would want to make sure that they were.
Yeah, there's only a certain amount of time that they want to warranty that.
I certainly understand
Yeah,
that.
it's the same with the ballistic vest.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say, those go to county council for some of our in-house,
Testing, right?
thank you.
Great. Are there any additional questions on this item? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Doyle. All those in favor say, oh, Mr. Boyle, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-429, Office of the Medical Examiner, submitting an amendment to a contract with All Star Laundry Services Incorporated for laundry services for the period December 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2022, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
Keith Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. This is adding funds to an existing contract for our laundry services.
Okay. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next
Thank you.
item.
Next item, BC 2021-430, Sheriff's Department, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 7116, which will result in an award recommendation to Keefe Group LLC in the amount not to exceed $230,000 for the purchase of various commissary items to incentivize inmates to receive the COVID-19 vaccination, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Rhonda Gibson, Administrative Corrections for the Sheriff's Department. The Correction Center has a plan to incentivize inmates to take the COVID vaccine. Previous attempts have been very minimal because the inmates have not shown interest in doing so. Therefore, we're taking advantage of some possible funding to give inmates 3 different options in incentives, so to speak. One of them is a commissary bag of items, and this $230,000 request is to pay for those commissary bags. The reason for the exemption is Keefe Group is the vendor that we already utilize for our commissary inventory.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes.
Just real quick, you had mentioned the 3 options. What are the other 2, please?
The other 2 options are inmate phone cards, so that they can make phone calls to friends and family, and remote video visits. Welcome.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-431, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, recommending an award on requisition 6931 and enter into a contract with Teaching Strategies LLC in the amount not to exceed $145,800 for a sole source purchase of Ready Rosie Family Engagement Curriculum Virtual Subscription Services for the period August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with the Office of Early Childhood Invest in Children. Again, this is a sole source contract with Teaching Strategies for our Ready Rosie program. Ready Rosie produces and distributes a set of unique child development videos under the brand name Ready Rosie. School districts and other programs that serve young children subscribe to Ready Rosie, and this can be provided to the client's parents. These short videos are typically less than 3 minutes long. They get pushed out to parents via an email. The videos outline and demonstrate age-appropriate and cognitive social development activities that parents can do with their children right in their home, with typically little to no expense using common household items. We Invest in Children provides this service to our parents who are enrolled in our UPK program, Universal Pre-Kindergarten Program. Ready Rosie has proven itself to be a valuable part of the menu of services that we offer to our UPK families. This is a 3-year contract which coincides with the new 3-year UPK contracts that were just approved by council.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nanny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-432, Department of Communications and Department of Health and Human Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Amplify Czech Republic, formerly known as Social Bakers, in the amount not to exceed $12,600 for social media tracking, analyzing, and publishing services for the period August 9th, 2021 through August 8th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Morning, Paul Porter, Health and Human Services, on behalf of both the Department of Communications and the Department of Health and Human Services. This is a joint award recommendation between our two departments for a contract with Amplify Czech Republic for social media tracking, analyzing, and publishing services for 15 different accounts across the county, including Health and Human Services, on social media networks like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, and Google Analytics data collection. We had a prior contract with this vendor under the former name Social Bakers, which expired in 2019. Prior to recommending this exemption, we evaluated Hootsuite, which is one of the closest competitors to this entity, and it's both more costly and permits fewer users. For this contract period, which starts today and goes to August 8th of next year, we're actually paying a lower cost per account than what we paid last time around. We are increasing from 11 accounts to 15 different accounts. Previously, the total amount was approximately $861 per account. This new contract's going to be about $840 per account. So it does represent a lower cost. As I indicated, this is split between the Department of Communications and HHS. So there's a funding split of 80% general fund for the item and then 20% HHS levy.
Are there any questions on this item?
I just have a basic question. How do you pay a company in Czechoslovakia? Do we cut in a paper check for that?
So that was interesting, Joe. Thank you for your question. Part of the challenge with this one as well is Social Bakers changed their name after we had a signed contract and all of their other documents. So Miranda and Marcos both scrambled for approximately a week or so to get everything changed. And this vendor, because they're a foreign vendor, doesn't have a W-9, which is typically what we use to put a vendor into the system. I think it's like a W-8. W-8, yeah. So they are in our system. It will be a paper check, not a direct deposit.
I was concerned that the answer was going to be Bitcoin, but thankfully, I don't know what a W-8 is, but I assume that you do. Have they been cleared by the IG, or they're registered? They were in their previous iteration, correct?
Affirmative,
Okay.
and Mark's team worked with us to change the vendor name because that was one of the other things. They had already registered as a vendor for the new contract under their prior name. Since they hadn't delivered any services or received payment, though, Mark's team was able to change the name without having them pay and take the test again.
Was the previous iteration, were they also a Czech company?
Affirmative, yes.
Okay,
Social
all right.
Bakers was from the Czech Republic as well.
And then I would assume that any of the legal issues that might potentially occur have already been blessed by law as well, at least in their previous iteration. I see, Marco, that's fine. If you can just give me a brief, like, what exactly will this company do?
Sure. Do you want to take that, Mary Louise, or do you want me to?
I mean, do they just assess, like hits and productivity and things along those lines? Okay.
So in terms of what we've got written down in the backup information, they're gonna look at our postings, analyze traffic on things like that, but also look at some similar counties to see how their social media presence compares to ours. And I think the three that they're gonna track are Allegheny County, San Diego County, and Fairfax County.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
And then the 15 agencies or the media pages, I mean, what was the criteria that you decided that, because you moved it from, what was it, 11 last time to 15 or whatever the number? I mean, which ones were added and why?
Sure,
If-
I don't have that level of detail. I'll turn it over to Mary.
I mean, it's just more for curiosity's sake than anything else.
Yeah, Mary Louise Madigan, Department of Communications. They're broken up for generally all county, which includes anything mentioning Cuyahoga County, so executive, county council, et cetera. Then there is another set of accounts strictly for the sheriffs, because there's a lot of traffic on the sheriff's accounts, both Twitter and Facebook. Then I think we added in Human Services a couple, so that we had a more thorough view of anything Human Services. And they are obviously helping us because they have the resources to do the paper tracking of all of this. And then the benchmarks, I think, are staying the same from last time. Yeah, actually, County Council, you have your own separate ones, Facebook and Twitter. But it's to track it, to find out what's working, what's not working, we're managing it, and how we're doing on any of the other pages. We're hoping that this is the last time we have to do this, because we're working on the 8th floor to train someone who can go through OPD's training to really do an RFP, a proper RFP, to do a more comprehensive snapshot of all media, not just social media, but we also be able to pull in any of the local or national newspapers, magazines, television accounts, so that we would have something that's even more clear for next year. We didn't do this last year because we made cuts, as everybody did, because of the uncertainty of COVID.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thanks. Moving on to the consent agenda, items BC 2021-433 through 437.
Let's take a moment to, take a moment to review. Okay. Are there any questions on the consent agenda items, or do we need more time? No questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Any other business?
Yes, we do have other business. We have one additional item that's not listed on the printed agenda. Item BC 2021-438, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 7228, which will result in a payment to Friendly and Settlement Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $50,000 for operating support to help promote ongoing initiatives in the central neighborhood for the period August 9th, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, and recommending a payment in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Paul Herdig with the Department of Development. First, let me say, we don't plan to make it a habit to come before this board with walk-on items. We recognize that's quite unusual. In this particular situation, there's a timing concern, but I also want to note that we in fact do have everything into Infor, and if there's any questions about Catherine can verify that we did all of our paperwork and got it in. We simply didn't have it in at the time appropriate to be on the printed agenda. The reason this item is important is this is part of the administration's support for the central neighborhood of Cleveland, sometimes referred to as the Central Surge. As we work with a variety of leaders in that community and institutions to get services going, to start to engage the residents, One of the things we've already identified is that residents are requesting help with job matching, not just being trained on how to find a job, but actually being matched with open available jobs. So working with the leadership at Friendly Inn, which is the settlement house for the central neighborhood, we've planned a job matching event which is being held on August 11th. That's this Wednesday. Friendly Inn is going to continue to work with us over a period of time, past just this one event, to continue to engage residents of the central neighborhood, to engage with available services such as Ohio Means Jobs, towards employment, financial literacy programs, and a variety of employers. But it was very important to us to get the authority for this financial support at this stage so we could signal to our partners at Friendly Inn that we're serious about providing the support for the work they're going to do.
Thank you. Before moving on to questions, I'd like to make a motion to add this item to the agenda for consideration. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding this item?
I mean, I know you mentioned the ongoing initiative. What are the ongoing initiatives? And perhaps I glossed over that one. What is this?
Thanks. Excellent question. As the executive announced in a State of the County speech, we're making a commitment to the central neighborhood of Cleveland to provide concentrated county resources for its residents and businesses. Some of the elements of this include, as we've talked about now, support for the residents to be placed in good, well-paid jobs. But beyond that, we are committed to working with all the small businesses in the central neighborhood to assess their needs. There's actually over 1,100 small businesses in the central neighborhood. We're going to be working on outreach to every one of those businesses, then match them up with our small business assistance partners for the help that they need. We are already engaged in working on a real estate project in the neighborhood, which is going to hopefully restore fresh food availability to the place where the former Dave's Grocery was at Arbery Park Plaza. We've committed to provide additional resources for land cleanup if needed to redevelop some additional sites there. We're working with Burton Bell Carr, which is the Community Development Corporation. We have engaged with CMHA directly with the CEO, with Mr. Patterson, in looking at how we can be involved in supporting the planning work that CMHA is doing. They have so many residents in that neighborhood. One specific area of focus has been the Central Rec Center. That's a building right next to St. Vincent, sometimes called the Bathhouse. It was one of the old Cleveland bathhouses, where we've talked with our friends at the City of Cleveland, Chief Ribka and others there, about participating financially in the renovations the city's doing to the rec center, and we're discussing some potential expansions as well. We've also engaged, this is more Chief Devers' world, in saying we'd like to be sure when the Interbelt project is done, when they redo the Interbelt, that we can do our part to make sure it's designed and built right to maintain access for residents in the neighborhood. And specifically, we've agreed to sign off on maintaining a bridge that's very important. Nicole, if I get this wrong, you'll correct me. But we had to sign off to maintain a bridge. That was very important to the institutions in the neighborhood that we do that. Tree, how could I forget the trees? Director Foley would kill me. We are increasing our funding for tree planting in the central neighborhood by an additional $50,000. And we are going to make sure this is done in such a way that neighborhood residents have the opportunity to be trained for the tree planting jobs, so it creates sustainable support there. I will say that on the regular agenda, not as a walk-on, we will be very shortly bringing this board a request to provide support to the Burton Bell Carr Community Development Corporation. They are the other key community partner.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. And if I can, obviously it's important, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that. If you can just send me information, doesn't have to do with the vote here today. I mean, what criteria the administration used for selecting this region or this community? I assume that there's a laundry list of factors that you use, and that doesn't have to do with this vote. If you can just send me that information, that'd be great.
We certainly can, and let me just say, partial response that there's really two things going on. One is the executive did indicate, I believe in his speech, we're looking at the concept of equity zones, And this would be an example of one such, a geographic area.
Right, here,
where
let me
there's been
jump in for a
dis-
second. I mean, I don't want to belabor it. That's great. I just want to know what the criteria was. I mean, whatever the nomenclature that the executive uses is fantastic. That's fine.
Okay, so we'll get that to you, Jim.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thanks.
Someone from internal audit is now here, so we
Yes.
can review that item.
Okay, we're going to return to item BC 2021-426, Department of Internal Audit, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to IIA Quality Services LLC in the amount not to exceed $20,500 to provide external quality assessment services related to internal audit activities for the period August 9th, 2021 through November 5th, 2021, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning. Thank you for your time this morning. Internal Audit is asking for this item to be considered as a part of our overall standards of care. We are required to submit to professional practices. Those practices require that we get a peer review every 3 years. Originally, we had thought we could get this from our peer organization, ALGER, but ALGER had informed us that due to COVID in their backlog, they were unable to provide that for us within the time frame in which we need it, which is this year. So our only other alternative would be to get it from the Institute of Internal Auditors at the cost of $20,500. In order to have it done by 12/31, we anticipate from them, well, we receive from them the timeline, which means we would need to start 8/9 of 2021. So we are requesting that these funds be approved. They are part of our budget. So there's no additional expenditure needed, but it is coming from the general fund. Any questions?
Just a quick, so this is once every 3 years, is that what you said?
Yes, it's every 3 years.
So will there be a process for the next round where you go through an RFP process?
So there are very limited, I guess, sources, you could say. ALGA typically is the one we go to because it's the most cost-effective, as you may be aware. It pretty much, we just reimburse our peers their expenditures, and then we have to go out and do an audit for somebody else in return. So that's typically what we like to do. Unfortunately, with COVID, we couldn't. So hopefully that's the process we can follow next time.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by
You can
Ms.
have-
English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, hearing no public comment, I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.